general anxiety disorder, and I still did it in 4 years. Through all the summer school. There wasn't any going to spring break, going to Cancun times. I didn't do that like some of y'all did back in your college days. I didn't do summer trips out, having fun, going abroad, going to another country. I studied. It might have been boring. It was somewhat. But it was better than doing nothing, at least. It was better to say, at least I'm doing something productive. So I graduate from college, and everybody says, what are you going to do next? And the next transition I talk about is college to the work world. I will personally say, from personal experience, high school to college was a tougher transition for me personally than college to the work world. College to the work world, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to go work for ESPN. I thought by the time I'm 26, 27, I'd make 40, 50K a year. At least would do what I'd be doing. I thought I'd be building a decent Roth IRA by now.
Wow.
I thought I'd be married by now, looking to possibly have kids, have a house, and go from there. I had already planned it. I almost was like a chess player. I've got this move and this move and this move. And guess what? It was far from the case. So this next phase I'm going to talk about is the process. I'm going to talk about these three phases: the process of finding a job, the maintaining a job, and starting over from scratch. So I hear some parents already thought, well, college ain't for me, or it isn't for me. If it's not for you, it needs to be the work world needs to be for you at least. And if you want to make it for you, these are steps to really consider. One of the things I learned first from college is that finding a job is full-time work. It really is. Look at all these bulleted points on the first phase I just put. Now, everybody asks me, why is there 90% unemployment rate for people on the spectrum? Look how much work they have to do just to get one job. And it's not a job they're usually not going to enjoy. Got to look good on the resume. Got to look good on the cover letter. Okay, now I got to find 3 references, 3 people that can actually that I could trust. Oh man, I've got to actually got to get some help actually. Then I got to research companies and think, what is this terminology when I'm researching these companies and jobs I'm looking for? What are they talking about? What are they all about? What is their culture like? What is the salary they make with the position? What all do they do and what they do? Oh, I did all these great things and I get to the interview. I did 3 steps to get 1 interview. Now I got to learn how to sell myself in the interview. And then go through the follow-ups. And the thank you letter, and then the networking. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I had the talent. But I didn't have the networking. If there was a cloning version of me and we talk about now, what have I done now differently now that I've graduated from college? I'd probably A, maybe look into sports management. But B, I probably would have gotten a little bit of work experience during that time. At some internship, some company. I did get an internship with certain sports organizations after I graduated. But I wish I did it during. Because I'm younger, I got more energy. The responsibility of trying to pay bills is not there compared to now today. and then trying to do the tracker list. So what do you do when you're looking and you're overwhelmed and all this? I do a tracker list. I do a tracker list of my phone number, the location, the phone number, who I followed up with, when, where I followed up with, and who I spoke with in the following up process. Sometimes we lose track of who we follow up with. Sometimes we lose track if we did apply or not. And then if it didn't work, I would color code all of a sudden. I didn't get a job in general, in any job, until about 3 months after I graduated from college. It took me 5 months to get anything steady. I didn't get diagnosed with Asperger's until I was 25. And right before that, in a 14-month span, I lost 6 jobs in 14 months. I don't think you could find anybody in your lifetime that you could say, I know someone that's lost 6 jobs in their lifetime. I know some people probably here today, I don't know if some of you all had 6 jobs in your lifetime, in general. Forget about losing 6 jobs, but having 6 jobs in your lifetime. I lost 6 jobs in 14 months. I even thought when I was doing the resumes and giving the references, I thought in my mind, one of the HR people was going to call one of the previous companies and say, don't hire this guy. I thought at that time. When it really kicked in, when I was losing these jobs, I said to myself, why am I losing these jobs? I even got to a point where I got fired without being told why I was fired. Imagine you going to get a paycheck on a Friday afternoon. Simple day, your choice to go get the paycheck. And the guy calls you into his office. And when I knew he called me into his office, I thought, I don't know what's going to... I have a gut feeling this is not going to be good. And when I have that feeling of, I don't know if it's going to be good or not, I'm usually right. So he told me I've been let go. And I thought, okay, at least the guy's going to tell me face to face, man to man, he's going to say why I lost it. And the guy didn't have the audacity to tell me why. I knew something was wrong, and I knew I had to get help. And that's what I had to do. I had to get tested to see, do I really have Asperger's? Do I really have it? I didn't know about Asperger's till about a couple years before that, when I was 22, right going into my senior year at college. And the doctor was telling me about this. And I was in denial that I had it. Now, I learned a lot from it. I researched about it on and off that from the senior year to when I thought, okay, I might have Asperger's from age 22 to 25. But I didn't know. I didn't think I had. I was just in denial. I thought, okay, I've gone through all this all my life. Why should I get tested now? when I first heard about it. So I get tested, and they find out that I have Asperger's. And for a parent, I hear a lot of parents say, my child at 5 got diagnosed, and it was a kick in the gut for me. And you hear the parents say, it was a kick in the gut for me. Well, there wasn't any kick in the guts. This was about swallowing pride and finding out what the problem is. This is, okay, I'm in a quarter-life crisis, and I need to get this changed soon. Real soon, or it's going to get worse. There's no feel bad for me. This was, I got to figure this out. So I remember thinking in my mind, what do I need to do? I thought, let's start from scratch. Let's take out everything I've known. Why I was losing it, how I was losing it, what I've learned from it, what my mom's taught me from it. The first one, we talk about maintaining a job. Less is more. If there's one quote I could tell or share for someone that's on the spectrum going into the job world, less is more when it comes to communicating. Why less is more is important. It's very hard to fire somebody who doesn't talk at all. Instead of saying hi, I'll try to do a wave if I could. It's very hard to get fired if he doesn't talk, if he or she doesn't. I realized I became more of a hit missile target to being misunderstood and likely fired. That's why I started using the less is more. You become more exposed. If I could go a day, an 8-hour work shift without talking at all, I did pretty good. If I get misunderstood for being aloof, I'd rather be misunderstood for being aloof than what I said. I realized I was losing jobs by communication, not by skill or talent. But even with all the things I learned about not talking at all, I realized that politics, I consider, is the toughest obstacle in the job world. I hear all the neurotypicals saying, well, yes, that is true. But that's an understatement for somebody on the spectrum. Here's the difference between a neuro and somebody on the spectrum. You know it and probably know how to go around it and do really well at it. We might not even know where it's coming from. We don't know how to handle it, most likely, even if we know where it's coming from. And then what to do in those situations in terms of excelling. When people ask me what's the 3 toughest battles for somebody on the spectrum when they go into the job world, number 1 is politics, number 2 is sensory, and number 3 is getting along with others. Why is it politics over sensory? Sensory you have more control in. You have more control of what to minimize the issue. You have a better idea of how to gauge it and how to handle it and what to do. You're in control in that situation. Politics, it can come at any direction. And then you might not know how to control it really well and work around it. There's politics all over everywhere. Is there sensory issues all over everywhere for that child? Not necessarily. Now the third one is just getting along with others. Which can be tough too. And the last one, and this one is to help me and this helps me stay consistent. I hear a lot of parents say, well, my child is very talented and he could do all these things. And I say, yeah, that's great. But is he consistent with his actions? Is he consistent every day? My mom says you're only as good as your last day. I'm only as good as my last day when I'm speaking. I'm only as good as my last day when I'm working as a referee or an umpire in what I do. I'm only good as my last day. Doesn't matter how many awards I've won. Doesn't matter how many speaking engagements or how many connections I've done. I'm only as good as my last day. In a more School of Hard Knocks term, you might hear the quote, "What have you done for me lately?"